I am a young woman who just got married. Before the marriage, my husband and I had an intimate relationship. We were inseparable, sometimes even staying in bed for an entire day. However, everything changed after the wedding. It seemed as if he suddenly lost interest in me. Not only did the frequency of our intimacy decline, but he would also play with his phone as soon as he got home, without me knowing what he was looking at. Just 3 months into the marriage, I felt almost neglected. This wasn't how a newlywed couple should be, judging from his usual routine. It couldn't be that he found another woman, so there must have been something wrong between us. One day, I discovered 2 adult videos in his phone. One was about a beautiful young woman getting an oil massage and being teasingly handled by a male technician while her husband was separated by a curtain with female technicians. The other was even more astonishing. A newlywed wife who just finished showering was encountered by a drunk husband sent home by a male colleague. Surprisingly, the male colleague became roused and violated the wife in front of the husband, and the husband strangely obtained an indescribable psychological satisfaction by peeping. Although I couldn't comprehend the plot of the videos, at least it proved that my husband still had normal physiological needs. So, how did he usually fulfill them? He must have been secretly self-releasing while watching these videos. What a waste! The next day at work, I was filled with indignation, looking at my reflection in the window. That shy and resentful face. An indescribable sense of loss welled up in my heart. My husband would rather watch such videos than be intimate with me. It made me feel like a total failure as a woman. When I returned home in the evening and saw my husband lying on the sofa watching TV, I thought of those 2 videos on his phone. Could it be that my husband had awakened some strange sexual preferences? I pondered the plot of the videos, wondering why he downloaded these 2. What were the commonalities between them? This was definitely an important breakthrough. I wanted to test my suspicions. Dear, why don't we go for a massage together on the weekend? Okay, my husband agreed readily. Soon, I found a spa shop online. The slogan there was to enjoy the ultimate pleasure and let your body relax completely. As for how pleasant it was, only those who understood would know. When we arrived at the store, I whispered to the front desk that I wanted a couple's massage. The other party smiled knowingly and guided us through a corridor filled with many posters of beautiful women into a dim room. There were 2 beds in the room with a curtain in between. My husband and I changed into the disposable underwear provided by the store and lay on the massage tables. Our eyes met, and for some reason, I felt my mouth go dry and my heart race, especially when I thought of the plot in that video. An inexplicable tension filled my heart. Just as I was thinking, the masseur arrived. It was a tall man who seemed to have deliberately exercised. With full muscles, he handed me an eye mask and motioned for me to put it on. Why do I need to wear an eye mask for a massage? I was full of doubts but was too embarrassed to ask. I did as he asked and lay down on the massage table after putting on the eye mask. At this time, I couldn't see the situation on my husband's side. I could only hear a young woman whispering softly with my husband. In a short while, a faint gasp came from my husband's side. I had no idea what the female technician was doing to him, but it was clear that he was enjoying it now. Husband, you must hold on, no matter what. We must not betray our marriage, I muttered in my heart. I was both worried and excited, and couldn't help but guess what was happening on my husband's side. The more I thought about it, the more scared and excited I became. At this time, the masseur came to the end of the bed. Madam, I'll give you a back massage first. Please relax. He poured some essential oil onto my back. After massaging for a while, he also climbed onto the bed. His legs straddled at my sides, and a pair of hot palms landed on my shoulders. The temperature was incredibly high. Not only did it not cause any discomfort, but I could clearly feel that the skin texture was evenly dissolving the essential oils. My attention was diverted, and I felt the massage pressing on my skin getting hotter and hotter. The range was gradually expanding. I was enjoying this unprecedented experience. He massaged all around my body, softening all my muscles, bones, skin, and flesh. My whole body felt numb and crispy. I didn't know where I was anymore. It was so comfortable. I was immersed in the fragrance of essential oils and the shivering of my skin, twisting my waist and hips slightly and letting out a satisfying moan. I was being massaged by such a pair of hands. Not taking the initiative to resist was already the last bottom line I could hold on to. Next were the legs. The legs were similar to the back but with more force and for a longer time. I started to think again. Would he treat me like in the movies? Did I want to resist? Was this foreplay? Just then, the masseuse's palm moved from my calves to my thighs and then to my buttocks, kneading them into various shapes. This was more intense than the back massage earlier, making my body heat up. I couldn't help but raise my neck. It seemed as if I had sent him a signal, and he worked even harder. The range of the massage was getting larger and the intensity was getting heavier. Is Mrs. comfortable? Well, it's comfortable. I didn't know how long it took when the masseur asked again. Mrs., now I need you to lie on your back. I was sure he was taking advantage of me. After all, I could barely stand now, but after putting on the blindfold, the darkness gave me a lot of courage. I obediently rolled over and lay face up, exposing myself to this man. I could feel a body breathing hot air slowly approaching the head of the bed. After another period of confusion, a hot object gently touched my lips. I froze. Could this familiar smell be his? But wasn't he wearing clothes? When did he take them off? Just as I was nervous, excited, and my heart was pounding, he leaned into my ear and whispered in an almost inaudible volume, "Now enjoy." I panicked a little and reached out to stop the male technician, but my hands were restrained by him. At first, I did hold back and wanted to figure out what kind of fun he was talking about. I didn't expect this store to really have such a service. At this point, it would be a lie to say there was no burden at all. What was my husband doing over there? There seemed to be some noise, but the music in the room was too loud and a little inaudible. "Don't mess around," I could only whisper. The male technician covered my mouth. "Isn't it just for fun? Your husband is also having fun now. Do you want to take a look?" I was skeptical. I saw the male technician remove my blindfold and quietly lift up the corner of the curtain. My eyes widened instantly. Over the curtain, the female technician was already lying on my husband's body. It was exactly the plot in the movie. For a moment, my heart raced. It turned out that my husband was really tired of me and had no interest in me. The male technician also wanted to proceed to the next step. At this time, my heart was like ashes. Instead of resisting, I said, "Let's move on somewhere else. I'll give you double the money. You take the excess, but don't talk about it." The male technician's eyes lit up when he heard I would give more money and made a gesture indicating it was okay. The male technician discussed with the staff of the massage parlor and soon took me to another private room. I had mixed feelings. Driven by desire, I let the male technician take off my clothes. He also cheated. It was nothing for me to do that, since he betrayed first. Why should I be stupid and hold on? I brainwashed myself, telling myself it was nothing. When I was done, I walked down the hall and found my husband already waiting there. My husband asked me where I had gone. I was a little panicked but thought to myself that since both of us cheated anyway, there was no shame in it. So I relaxed a little. I knew what my husband was asking, but I still deliberately misunderstood him. I evaded and said, "I went to take a shower." My husband didn't ask further. He just happily said that the service of this store was good and that we could come back next time. I nodded. After lowering my head, I couldn't help but sneer. I don't know if my health is bad or if there's a problem with my husband. Several times before, I just didn't get pregnant. I was even guessing if it was because my husband wasn't in good health and was afraid of being noticed, so he avoided being intimate with me. But this was unknown. After all, I didn't go to the hospital for a checkup, and it wasn't good to ask directly. After all, which man would admit that he couldn't? My husband had to travel for the company's business for a period of time. I found such days really boring, so I went to the bar to get drunk. The bar was brightly lit, and men and women of all kinds were dancing in the dark. It was 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was still very lively. I sat at the bar, looking at the handsome guys and beauties coming and going while pouring glass after glass of wine into my stomach. I don't drink very well. After a few glasses, I quickly got drunk. At this time, I seemed to hear someone calling me a beautiful girl. A pair of hands were on my shoulders. I turned my head and saw a young man who looked like my husband. In a daze, I subconsciously shouted at the man, "Husband." The man smiled and asked if I wanted to have fun together. I didn't react and seemed to say yes. Then my memory was fragmented. When I regained consciousness again, I was already lying on the bed without a stitch on. The sky outside the window was bright. It was already morning. I felt a sore back. I tried to remember the events of last night. I only knew that I had a one-night stand with a strange man. It seemed to be one time, or maybe two, on the ground floor. Countless used condoms. I had no idea who the other party was, although I always knew that having a one-night stand was bad. When I woke up, I suddenly changed my mind. I thought this seemed like a good way to dispel my sorrows. Just like that, I pretended to be confused with my husband and spent the days together ordinarily. He sought his pleasure, and I found my happiness. We left each other alone. Back home, we still maintained a husband and wife relationship on the surface. We could also have meals together. Something seemed wrong. but it also seemed reasonable. I didn't expect much about what the days ahead would be like.